Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning to you all, depending where in the world you're dialing in from. Welcome to the Efficiency for Access Grand Finals. I'm Emma Crichton, Head of Engineering from Engineers Without Borders UK, and I'll be kind of emceeing this event throughout. 3 years ago, I was part of the team that created the Efficiency for Access Design Challenge, and it's incredibly humbling to see this programme thrive into its third year. We are here today to celebrate good design. Today is International Women in Engineering Day, and the theme this year is inventors and innovators, and that feels really fitting for the Efficiency for Access, the grand final. This design challenge says something important about innovation, about responsibility, about solving the problems that matter most, and about coming together from across the world to collaborate. The Efficiency for Access Design Challenge provides opportunities for final year students to fast-track learning about how to create solar appliances responsibly. And that investment in you, in your education, makes a lot of sense. As future professionals, you will make decisions that have a great impact on other people, directly, for example, through the design of a product or service, and indirectly, for example, through the embodied energy and carbon of the material you might select. If you enter the solar appliance sector, your choices can impact the lives of people. That's amazing. Many people use and will use appliances in their homes or businesses now and into the future. That design is a responsibility, and your ability to plan, build, dispose, reuse, think, rethink through the full life cycle of an appliance and business model is critical. As is ensuring at every stage, the choices you make are sustainable, ethical, equitable, because that's how we create things that really deliver. That is what good design is all about. This year, for the Efficiency for Access Design Challenge, we had almost 170 students participate from universities in Bangladesh, Benin, Cameroon, India, Kenya, Nigeria, Pakistan, Senegal, Sweden, Uganda, the UK, the USA, and Zimbabwe. For the first time this year, we had students from different universities coming together to form a team. Students often from different countries, different continents, and we had 6 inter-university teams. We also had support from over 30 industry partners, and students had access to prototype funding and a collaborative workspace, CrowdSolve. A link is now being shared in the chat to that amazing collaborative space where you can see the designs from this year's design challenge. From those working tirelessly behind the scenes and to the educators and university partners, our mentors, reviewers and industry partners, the funders, UK Aid and the IKEA Foundation, and of course to you, the students participating, thank you all for your contributions. Now let's get started with today. We have designed a great event for you. But first, could you please introduce yourselves in the chat and tell us where in the world you are right now and what role, for example, an educator, student or a mentor you have in the design challenge. If you're joining us today fresh, new to this, that's great. Welcome, and just keep that blank in your name when your introduction. So looking forward to see you introduce yourselves in the chat. To give you a little bit of a detail about what's going to happen today. During the first half of the grand final, you will hear about the highlights of the design challenge and hear from our keynote speaker and an amazing industry panel looking at the growth of the solar appliance sector. The second half is devoted to showcasing the final year student projects and designs and presenting the all-important awards. We're expecting the event in full to last no longer than 2 hours, and we will have a 10-minute break halfway through. I'm sure you are all familiar with Zoom, but for today, we do have a few house rules. Please do stay on mute unless you're called to speak. Please do turn your cameras on, especially during the award ceremony, if you're able to. It would be really wonderful to see who has joined us today. And please do update your name, so you can do that with the ... next to your box on Zoom, as to whether you're a student, a professional, or an educator. We will be recording today's event and a live transcription is available throughout. Please do use the chat function for any questions you might have, and in particular during the panel discussion. Without further ado, here are some of the highlights from this year's Efficiency for Access Design Challenge 2021-22.
Imagine a world where everyone has access to clean energy. High-performing solar-powered appliances can help accelerate a just and inclusive clean energy transition. Empowering young people can help enhance access to modern energy services and address the climate emergency. That is part of our mission at the Efficiency for Access Design Challenge. We work together as a global network of universities and organizations. This year, 21 universities took part and over 40 industry partners provided expert mentoring. We support students to develop their core competencies and offer them a clear pathway for entering the energy access workforce around the world.
They understand the requirements not only from engineering perspective, but they look at the market. They look at the financial side of the projects, they look at the business side of it in order to deliver a particular energy engineering solution.
This year, we gave students from universities in different parts of the world the opportunity to collaborate and form inter-university teams.
I worked with 2 other students from Bangladesh and 1 other student from City University. It's very interesting to learn about something new. I quite enjoyed working with other students from Bangladesh and just learning about the culture and the experiences and just figuring out what improvement is required within the country. I come from a civil engineering background, so this itself was like a brand new topic. It involved different types of engineering skills which I had to develop.
I was introduced to a team in Kenya, a team of 3 students. It was very nice to see them advance and grow over the 6 weeks. I think when you're in the field for so long, you forget how much you've learned along the way and where you started. So it's always nice to be able to share that knowledge and provide guidance, because we definitely got a lot of guidance when we started.
It's inspiring to see the range of innovation that students have come up with. These designs aim to tackle some of the most important issues that many people in the world face.
Definitely got to interact with a lot of people. So this project was really good for my learning experience.
I also enjoyed the fact that there were team members from different universities, and even in our team, we had more members from other countries. So we had to work through these schedules. We had to we got to get ideas from people from not just from different universities, but from different continents and also from different cultures. And at the same time, even though we had so many differences, we all were working on the same project, trying to get the same sort of outcome.
Beyond the technical experience that the students encountered in the challenge, they definitely had exposure to teamwork, which played a really big role, and they had to work together to develop a solution. So with developing the solution, they had to use their creativity and problem-solving skills from an engineering perspective, but also social implementation and developing a business model, looking at the economics of a certain product, or the whole process of developing an innovative solution.
We foster innovation and problem solving within the off-grid appliance sector to help accelerate clean energy access. We share the latest information and ideas directly from our partners in the off-grid sector through webinars and workshops.
The challenge is designed to empower students from all around the world to create appliances for rural communities. As such, we work to equip students with the confidence, skills, and experience to enter the workforce and contribute to the green economy.
Often in university, you're presented with a lot of theory and a lot of ideas around engineering or development, but it's only when you really get to do this in practice and see and interact with the people that work with these technologies that you're able to see where you can go in the future.
Let's keep empowering future generations to develop solutions needed to address the climate emergency.
It's amazing to see and hear from so many people involved this year. We're now going to hear from our keynote speaker. A keynote helps to set a theme for today, and Eduardo from Brazil is certainly going to do that. Eduardo Zogby is a political scientist with 8+ years of experience working on climate change projects around energy, forestry, agriculture, green finance, and sustainable infrastructure for international organizations and a leading government affairs consulting firm. She is currently working as climate and energy guide at Civics Unplugged. At the Inter-American Development Bank in Brazil, her work revolved around designing, planning, and implementing projects with the Brazilian government. As an energy and gender consultant at Sustainable Energy for All, she delivered electricity access policies and mainstream gender into energy projects to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 7. Eduardo has also been involved in the development of and energy transition roadmap for the Brazilian Senate as part of the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC. It's a big push for sustainability, coordinating the Energy Working Group and writing technical policy papers to support a Green New Deal framework. As an MPA candidate at Columbia University, she is spearheading the expansion of the Center on Global Energy Policy's Women in Energy program to Brazil. This endeavour promotes gender equality in the energy access sector by fostering a network of female energy students and professionals. Very apt as we celebrate International Women in Engineering Day. Let's hear from Eduardo.
Today, 789 million people live without access to electricity. But what does this really mean? At this exact moment, as we speak, there are households in the dark, women cooking with polluting fuels, children unable to study at night, and workers unable to perform due to the lack of cooling appliances. These are only a few examples to depict the magnitude of the challenge we're facing now. With rising global temperatures, we are experiencing a climate emergency that requires the most innovative and low-cost solutions to support the most vulnerable. It is in this context that youth voices become imperative. The Efficiency for Access Design Challenge presented you with an opportunity to use the tools your universities and life experiences have provided you with in search of solutions for global crises. According to the International Energy Agency, an additional 100 million people lost access to electricity due to the rising poverty levels resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of the people they're talking about are young. Around 2/3 of the electricity gap exists in Africa, a continent where the population under 35 represents almost 1 billion people, amounting to 23% of the world's total youth population. Asia comprises 58% of the world's youth, and while some countries have reached nearly full electricity access rates, others are still lagging behind. In my region, Latin America, the pandemic has deepened this challenge. Although most countries had nearly 100% access, we're now seeing these numbers go down due to the economic recession brought by the pandemic. With natural gas reaching record prices, more and more people are resorting to biomass for cooking, and fatal accidents have become more and more frequent. In our case, the people being affected live in rural areas, indigenous territories, and are often women. In Brazil, it is estimated that in the north and northeast regions, the poorest in the country that are living there are about 54% of the population that uses firewood for cooking. In rural areas across all regions, 40% of people use biomass for cooking. Brazil's energy challenges also exist in our big cities. Globally, our country faces the 6th highest risk as a result of a rapidly growing favela population's lack of access to cooling. As the next generation of world leaders, we must acknowledge the importance of ensuring a just energy transition. This means that while addressing the decarbonization of the energy sector, we must also prioritize the impact we want to have on people's well-being. You have learned that access to clean energy and other basic services is closely correlated with the country's position on the Human Development Index. Hence, your efforts to identify affordable and efficient appliances that can improve people's quality of life or increase business productivity is especially relevant in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic recovery. We must also fiercely search for applicable and scalable solutions. For me, one of the most important outcomes of youth engagement and challenges such as this one is learning from each other and finding common solutions to tackle a problem. I'm a big supporter of South-South cooperation because while I was working with off-grid electrification in Africa, I identified various opportunities for Latin America. From pay-go to demand-side subsidies and improved cook stoves, it is your hands-on knowledge that will allow you to know what your communities need the most and how to cooperate with other countries to scale your solution. We also need young innovators to create appliances that are truly accessible. More important than creating an appliance or technology is working with your target community. 4 years ago, at this exact moment, I was in Meru, Kenya, working with a local community on climate education and agriculture resilience. While living there, my friends showed me this beautiful, pristine kitchen built near the school through an aid program. It appeared that it had never been used, and I asked why. The answer was simple. Nobody taught the community how to use the kitchen. This experience reminded me how bottom-up approaches are crucial to address energy access, and I hope that from this moment onwards, you may take your solutions to the next level and engage with your target audience, people. Affordable and high-performing appliances are essential to delivering modern energy services to underserved communities around the world at the lowest possible economic and environmental cost. Your work with distributed clean energy technologies will directly help people and businesses access life-changing modern energy for the first time. But I know this path is not simple. For all the donors tuned in today, we need to ramp up finance for youth entrepreneurs. Today you'll experience how brilliant they are. Small grants can make the difference to transform an idea into action. Youth need not only finance for implementation, but also support in learning accounting, sales, marketing, and other skills to make their ideas successful. Mentorship and capacity building are also key. Student Energy's Global Youth Energy Outlook recommends investing in upskilling and transition skills programs to sustain youth, developing targeted financial programs that prioritize our initiatives. My vision for 2030 is seeing our ideas become policies, new technologies, and businesses that may transform the energy sector. To achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 7 by 2030, we will also need more finance for energy access. It is estimated that we need $43 billion annually to reach universal electricity access. But according to Sustainable Energy for All, in 2019, only $12.6 billion were tracked, and from the $43 billion we need, only 2% is going to clean cooking. I do not wish to leave you with a set of new challenges to think about, but maybe leave a message of hope. Between 2010 and 2020, the electricity gap was reduced by 300 million people, and international finance flows to clean energy doubled from 10 billion to 21 billion. In the decade of action, we must remember that solar energy costs have fallen 82% since 2010, and countries are closer to reaching economies of scale. Instead of seeing the SDG 7 as a problem, let's understand it as an opportunity to disrupt our energy systems. It is an opportunity to build new business models, to foster international cooperation, and empower youth entrepreneurs. Thank you all for the time and effort you put into your solutions. You are already contributing to our SDG 7 targets, and I cannot wait to see how far you'll go, because this is only the beginning.
It certainly is. Thank you, Eduardo, for those really powerful words. Next up, we have just a moment to reflect on those words, just incredible. But next up, we do have a panel discussion facilitated by Sean Davey. Sean works as a project coordinator at the Energy Saving Trust, Co-Secretariat of Efficiency for Access. He is likely a familiar face to you all as he's a core part of the team that delivered this design challenge. Sean will be introducing today's panel on how can early career professionals influence sustainable growth in the solar appliance sector. He'll help to set the scene and introduce our three amazing panelists. Sean, over to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Davey, project coordinator on the Efficiency for Access Design Challenge. I've been following the progress of the students over the course of the challenge this year, and for many, the introduction to the solar appliance sector and off-grid technology. Many are now newly interested in a future career in this space. The great news is the solar appliance sector is growing. The Efficiency for Access Coalition reported 479 companies were active in the solar appliance sector in 2021. Growth from the 282 active just 4 years ago. IRENA estimated a further 500,000 new renewable energy jobs in 2020, despite the pandemic. And there are currently 12 million renewable energy workers. A third of those are employed in solar PV. The sector is seeing growth in the number of businesses and their scale of operations, employment opportunities, investments, innovations, and of course, the societal need for solar energy appliances. However, the sector is still young and far from its market potential. It's an exciting time, one that offers us the opportunity to do things differently to other older industries. Today, I'm joined by three lovely panelists to discuss how can early career professionals influence sustainable growth in the solar appliance sector, exploring the actions that early career professionals can take to help ensure that the solar appliance sector acts responsibly and leaves no one behind. So allow me to introduce you to all of them. You can see them on the screen. We have Frederick Mariatti, a monitoring, verification, and reporting coordinator for GIZ. Frederick is an energy economist currently working with GIZ Kenya on the implementation of a GCF-funded climate-friendly cooking project. Before this work, Frederick participated in the first year of the Efficiency for Access Design Challenge, supporting his team Kijiji in achieving a bronze award for the design of a solar-powered container. He's a clear example of where participants might find themselves following their time in the challenge. Frederick has broad experience in the sector, previously implementing results-based financing projects for solar and cooking, and a host of other off-grid market assessment assignments in Kenya. At the continental level, Frederick has been part of pioneer initiatives such as the Open Africa Power Program. Seeking a full, all-round understanding of the sector, Frederick holds a Master of Science in Energy Economics and Policy from the University of Surrey, a Bachelor's of Commerce in Operations Management from the University of Nairobi, a technical diploma in chemical engineering from the Technical University of Kenya, and varied certifications in universal energy access from Florence School of Regulation. And has watched the sector grow and evolve during his studies. We are also joined by Nidhi Pant, co-founder and head of finance and partnerships of S4S Technologies, a near farm gate food processing platform that converts farm losses to value-added products for the food and beverage industry by training landless women farmers to become micro-entrepreneurs. Nidhi is a multi-award-winning youth leader and young entrepreneur, recognized as a Cisco Youth Leadership Awardee by Global Citizen, a Unilever Young Entrepreneur Awardee, a UN Climate Youth Leader, a WEF Global Shaper, and has been featured in Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia. Nidhi believes that all our challenges can only be solved by technology and working together, and so earned a degree in chemical engineering from the Institute of Chemical Technology. Now, S4S Technologies prevents 40,000 tons of food losses annually, has saved 350,000 tons of CO2 from entering the atmosphere, and has supported 800 women entrepreneurs. Last but not least, we are joined by Shakti Ramkumar, Director of Communications and Policy at Student Energy. Shakti advocates for meaningful youth engagement and energy justice in the global energy transition. Student Energy is a global youth-led organization empowering the next generation of energy leaders with a network of 50,000 young people in 120 countries. Shakti was a selected representative for the inaugural Youth for Climate Summit in 2021, where she worked collaboratively with 400 young people from around the world to draft detailed climate action recommendations for world leaders in the run-up to COP26. She's also a member of the inaugural Climate Action Cohort, led by Youth Climate Lab and Students on Ice. Shakti graduated from University of British Columbia with a BA in Geography, where she was co-director of Common Energy UBC. So please join me in welcoming them all to the panel today. As I mentioned, we are discussing how early career professionals can influence sustainable growth in the solar appliance sector. So if you have any questions for any of our panelists today, please put them in the chat. Just keep them coming. And my colleague Tom will be reading through the questions we receive, and we hope to have some dedicated time at the end to answer them. So don't wait until then to send yours in. We'll be compiling them. Okay, great. So now on to the discussion. I wanted to open the discussion briefly by asking you all how you define sustainable growth in the solar appliance sector and why you think sustainability of this growth is important. Perhaps we can start with you, Shakti.
Yeah, definitely. So Student Energy, like Sean mentioned, works on empowering young people to take action on energy. And we do this through energy education, capacity building, and investing in early stage entrepreneurs. So we help match young people with funders, and we help leverage young people's skills and projects to help them get connected to funders who can help scale their projects. So I think particularly in the solar appliance sector, there is so much potential for young people who are leading small to mid-sized enterprises to be able to develop and implement their projects in the next 4 to 5 years. We see a huge amount of potential. And one way that we hope to empower young people to influence the growth of this sector is through the signing of our UN Energy Compact. So Student Energy has signed one of the very few youth-led UN Energy Compacts called the Student Energy Solutions Movement, which aims to fund 10,000 youth-led clean energy projects by 2030, and aiming to raise $150 million to fund these projects. So through directed finance mechanisms that are for young people to be able to develop and implement projects at the very early stage of their careers, not having to wait 5, 10, 15 years to be able to access the necessary amount of seed funding to implement a project. It's one way that we're hoping young people can kind of have a fast track to be able to influence growth in this sector. So I'm really excited to hear from other panelists as well about the other barriers and things we need to unlock to enable more young people to influence growth in the sector. But one way that I hope will eliminate some barriers for young people is through mechanisms like our UN Energy Compact. So turn it back to the other panelists.
Sure, and maybe we can move on to Frederick next.
Yeah, thanks, Sean, and thanks for the intro earlier. That was really detailed. I work with GIZ Kenya, and we focus on a couple of things. We are in different sectors: agriculture, energy, governance, etc. But I think specifically for the energy sector, energy and transport and climate change, we focus mostly on supporting communities to access modern energy solutions for solar, lighting, and cooking. We're also focusing more on climate protection. And maybe, Sean, just to respond to your question, how do I define sustainable growth in this sector? I would use 2 aspects to define that. And I would focus more on our environment today. Like, how do we relate the growth in the solar sector with what's happening in our world? We're talking about climate change, lots of changes happening around. And one thing we know with the sector is, as the sector grows, we have a lot of waste really coming out. You look at the products along the value chain, getting to the end of their lifetimes, how do we manage these wastes? Unless we are able to do this with the interest in the sector, the question of sustainability still remains in the balance, So looking at sustainability in terms of how do we handle the waste that after the products come to the end of their life cycle. We're also looking at sustainability the sector specifically, and I'm glad I'm talking to professionals today, is do we have a sustained level of human skills required to make this sector grow? There's what we're looking at today as people. So we've moved from the use of, we call them the PICO solutions, the small solar systems. We're moving towards productive uses, And what this requires is we need adequate human skill set to be able to take this discussion forward. So the question is it sufficient or not? So for me, sustainability and the growth of the solar sector, I relate it in 2 ways. How responsive is it to the environment today? but also do we have sufficient human capital or human skill set to take this discussion forward?
Okay, thank you, Frederick. And finally, can we hear from Nidhi on this? Nidhi, are you here? Hopefully she hasn't dropped out of the call today. Let me just see. Okay. Maybe Nidhi has just lost connection. But hopefully she can rejoin us. But I think it's interesting. You both had fairly varied responses, but it sounds like it's really important for us to think about the sustainability of our projects at the implementation. I mean, when we're developing them, so that it sustains throughout the implementation, and getting that skills, getting the skill set there is perhaps maybe to link your two responses to get the youth engagement in there and get people involved from an early stage in considering sustainability. Fantastic. Thank you both for getting on that, and hopefully we can get Nidhi back in the room. But just okay, so now understanding what sustainable growth means and why it's important, I wanted to ask you, Frederick, what concrete steps do you think need to be taken to achieve sustainable growth in the solar appliance sector? Tough one, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure. Whenever this question is asked, I would, let me say I light up, because I'll tell you so many things that can be done, to support the growth of this sector. And I'll mention things like, we hear them everywhere in conferences, that we need to increase funding for research in the sector. We need to focus on the impacts of the sector to the environment, like we've just come out from the World Environment Day. We need to think about this. We need to talk to governments to put in place policy frameworks that promote the growth of the sector. And here you hear in some countries, people say the tax regimes are very prohibitive to the growth of the sector. And there are many others, I'll be honest. I would also agree that if we resolve some of those things, we would really be moving towards a sustainable, towards sustained growth in the solar sector. But Sean, I think today it would be unfair for me to go that route, and if I don't mention this, that since we are talking to young professionals and industry players, some of them on the forum, I think I would like to focus maybe on one or two things. And I'll look at this. Maybe we might want to consider building the technical capacity for those within and those who are interested in moving to the sector. And I will be honest, this is where I refer to this relationship or interaction between the industry and the academia. We realize that most of institutions focus on simply giving knowledge, just giving knowledge. But again, by the time the students are walking out into the industry, there's a huge gap, and most employers might end up complaining on this. And this is where, for me, Sean, I would like to focus. For instance, I would ask, and I already mentioned that on the human capacity bit, do we have enough certification frameworks that will support our young people to really play their role in the sector? I would give an example. For those of us from Kenya, we have this framework where technicians, I would say solar technicians, have to go through before you're allowed to do any installations within the country. And I'll be honest, I'll tell you, in our case, this has created some sanity. And just beyond this, if you go deeper, I would say this is a result of some very beautiful relationship between the industry and the academia. That allow me to mention Strathmore University here. They are the ones really taking lead in certifying all the technicians. So we are certified as technician 1, 2, 3, indicating what level of work you can do for the sector. And so you see a relationship between Strathmore University as a university, and then this is really working closely with the regulator in Kenya. And then we have other partners like GIZ who come in to support some of these initiatives. So you look at this as a relationship that if it's built on further, it's really good for the industry. And this is something that I would say going forward, for us to ensure a sustained growth in this sector, we need to have such kind of relationships. Just beside ensuring there's more funding coming into the sector, a lot of research happening, we need to really foster this relationship, this between the industry and the academic. And then maybe while I'm at this, I know there's some research institutions here and even industry players. I would still mention, Sean, why don't we have these deliberate agreements or collaborations? I'll give an example, and I talked about waste earlier. It's really becoming a big topic within the solar space. A lot of technologies coming out, reaching their end of life cycles. Sometimes we have no idea what to do with them. Why don't we have universities deliberately working with industry players to form collaborations how to resolve some of these things? I would give an example. A firm handling industrial wastes, say an industry or even an organization, can come up and work with the University of London, for example, or London University or University of Surrey or University of Nairobi in Kenya, and see how do we collaborate on solving some of these problems that are affecting us. These relationships shown that you won't hear anywhere. I'm really talking about this because this is more of a professionals forum, and that's why I'm really specific on this. Can we forge these relationships? And I'm glad this is what this challenge also really works to do. But can we see these deliberate ones in Africa, in the developing countries, the developed world? If we see more of this, I think we'll be headed to a good way. But otherwise, all other steps that can be done, Sean, I would say they are mentioned in every conference. Talk about increased funding here and there, Yeah, that's what I would say for now, Sean. Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. I think just from my experience on the challenge, you see like a lot of potential for collaboration between the academics and industry, and what they can share, just knowledge and passing that between them. But yeah, great response. It's a tough question.
Yeah, but also, Sean, I think there's also a topic that tends to be forgotten, and I think we talked this at some point, Yeah, but maybe these are ETC for now. Maybe we can discuss about the next future challenges, issues around cooking, There's always millions of discussions around the electricity sector. But yeah, this is something we can discuss even going forward. Lots of opportunities there still for young people. I'll tell you that for free now that I'm in the space also. But yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So assuming we can take some of those steps, those real steps that Frederick was outlining, in particular those two, what do you all hope the growth of the sector can achieve? And what will this mean for early career professionals if we, if we can take these steps? Perhaps starting with you, Shakti, this time, and I'll see if Nikki is in the room now.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Frederick, for making the point. I also want to emphasize what you said about young people needing the kind of practical skills to bridge their very academic background to the projects that they want to implement, to making an impact in this sector. That's a very crucial point to kind of growing this sector and involving young people along the way. And I hope that the growth of this sector will fundamentally reshape how we view our energy system. A big part of what we do at Student Energy, and what we've realized from working with young people around the world, is young people are not settling for an energy system of the future that has just been decarbonized if the access and equity challenges that are present in the current energy system have also not been addressed. So we hear from youth across our network that, of course, we want renewable energy, we want clean energy, but that's not sufficient. We don't want a decarbonized energy system that continues to replicate the injustices and inequities in our current system. So I'm hoping that the growth of this sector and the involvement of folks like you and young people around the world who are doing these projects in communities around the world will ensure that the future of the energy system doesn't look exactly like the current one in terms of replicating all the inequities that we see in the present energy system. I think there's a lot of potential for the growth of this particular sector to support the democratization of energy, to enable communities to have more ownership and agency over their production and consumption of energy. And this can be a game changer for just community power in general, even beyond the world of energy power in like the the democratic sense, not the energy sense, although both, I guess. So that's kind of what I hope for the growth of the sector will achieve, is just like a fundamental reshaping of who our energy system is for and who has say over the production and consumption of power.
Sure. Yeah, and I think yeah, with how young the sector is, and how, I mean, I think it truly has a lot of youth engagement in it because young people are also quite involved in climate change, renewable energy. There's a lot of potential there for the social considerations of growth as well. So thanks, Shakti. Just on that, what do you think that will mean for the early career professionals entering this space?
Yeah, I think one thing that we often keeps us up at night at Student Energy is whether young people who enter the energy space will be able to stay in it for the long haul, because the energy transition will not be a quick one. I mean, we have a lot to do in the next 8 years, so we need to, do that. But this is a lifelong career choice for many of us, for a lot of us in this room, and a lot of us who have chosen this path of advocating for the clean energy transition, of implementing the clean energy transition. It's a lifelong commitment. So we hope that the growth of this sector will be a springboard for young people to kind of stay in the fight for the long haul, because we really need a lot of young people who are entering the sector now to be able to continue to grow their influence and continue to make an impact years, decades down the line. So I think the excitement and the innovation that we're seeing in this sector provides me with a lot of hope that it can be an attractive space for young people who may have never considered energy as a future career path to enter the space and stay in it for the long haul. Whether that's in the same capacity or a different capacity, but I think that's a really exciting part of reading everyone's challenge submissions and seeing everyone's interest in this sector is I'm seeing the potential for a lot of young people who I hope will stick around for decades to come in this space.
Sure, and I know for a fact that there's just a lot of passion here as well, reading those submissions and seeing the students work this year.
Yeah.
So hopefully, yeah, the longevity is there. Frederick, what do you think about the question?
Yeah, Sean, I think it's to assure every young professional here that I would call it the off-grid sector. Let me use that term, not just the solar, but this sector is a sector worth them venturing in. There are lots of opportunities, and I like talking about it from an entire value chain perspective. So right from the supply side, through the distribution chain, all the way to the end use, there are lots of opportunities where they can come in with solutions that are required to meet each one of these. And maybe to also mention this, Sean, there are a couple of nice trends happening in the sector. I mentioned earlier, we moved from the PICO solutions, where someone would simply use their solar system for just lighting. We went into solar home systems where we could do a couple of things with these solutions. Now we're moving into income generation using solar solutions, So you see the trend, there's a lot of growth in it. And these are all exciting areas that young professionals can find time and work into. This is what I always tell young professionals, that as you get into the markets, you get into the industry, can you do what we call a supply chain mapping? So try to understand what happens on the supply side, what happens on the demand side, what are the cross-cutting issues across the value chain. And then as a professional, try to find out where can I fit most, because some of these young people will fit in the supply side, some in the demand side, some in the distribution, some will handle the cross-cutting issues like policies around some of these solar solutions, So a nice mapping of this by each one of them will be nice. As you understand the different nodes of the value chain, understand who are the players in these nodes. Then you're able to know, I can identify Tesla is in this. So is it something I want to go after? I think I'm good at research and whatever. Can I work like in Kenya with Strathmore University Energy Research Center? These are things I like telling students to do. But I think specifically for young people, a couple of trends coming up, Sean. Issues around productive use of solar energy is something I would advise we try to look out for. Find somewhere you can fit in there. We're looking to create an e-mobile world powering our movement with solar energy. Also an interesting topic coming up. So I would also advise the young professionals here to consider those things. But the issue of waste, Sean, I never get tired of talking about it. Sometimes we look at waste as waste, just that way. But you see, waste is an opportunity. And for young people, this is how I look at it. How do we come up with solutions to manage this waste? We may look at managing waste as it comes, but also let's work backwards, Why don't we come up with solutions so we don't have to look at as waste at the end of their life cycle? So that when a product is supposed to last 10 years, At the 10th year, it can still be used to add value in another different way. It may not be in the same industry, but another industry. So a lot of things, Sean, that I see that young people and young professionals can look at. But most importantly, please map out the value chain. It's very huge, very interesting with lots of opportunities.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. The sector is huge, and it just keeps growing. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, we need to understand what each area can achieve and really map that out. So thanks, Frederick. I think I'm just checking on the D, and I think it might be an issue of the room being capped at 100, so she might be having trouble getting back in here. But hopefully we can get her in here soon. But yeah, apologies to anyone that's struggling to get in and jumping in and out. Okay, but yeah, it sounds like what I hope will be a bright future for the early career professionals coming into this space, especially if we can achieve the kind of things that you both are looking for. But I just wanted to pull on that thread of the early career professionals experience a bit more, Shakti. What role do you see early career professionals playing in creating responsible and inclusive growth? What separates them from the incumbent workforce?
Yeah, this is an important one. I think in a lot of spaces, it's seen as kind of like a benevolent gesture, like, oh, of course we need to support young people because it's like the right thing to do. But also it's just like crucial to advancing the energy transition. We can't do it without young people. So I think what separates young people and early career professionals from the incumbent workforce, from our experience at Student Energy working with a network all over the world, is a few things. One, young people are really not tied to the inertia of the current energy system, the way things have been done, the way financing models have worked in the past, or the way energy systems have been structured. Young people don't find themselves bounded by those restrictions of the past, and it's a huge benefit for innovation, because we see young people coming with all kinds of solutions that were thought to be not feasible or not possible or just like not practical at the moment. So I think that's a huge thing that separates early career professionals from the incumbent workforce. And the second thing I think is just like a global perspective that for young people, regardless of where they're based, or early career professionals, wherever they're based, there are remarkable similarities in how early career professionals are approaching whether seeking out work or becoming entrepreneurs. It is very much values driven. That's what we see in our experience. A lot of early career professionals write to us and say, we're not settling for these conventional jobs in the energy sector, and if we can't find the kind of job that aligns with our values for climate action and climate justice, we'll create our own. We'll create our own opportunities. And that's a huge departure from the incumbent workforce, because I think the energy sector historically has been quite centralized and quite exclusive to young people, to a lot of underrepresented communities. And that's really set to change in the coming years. So I think this not being tied down by the inertia of the energy sector, and being very values driven in the kinds of careers and pathways and jobs that early career professionals will choose is something that really kind of separates this generation from perhaps the incumbent workforce.
Thanks, Shakti. I was on mute. But yeah, it's great to hear from your experience, at least working with lots of young people, that or early career professionals, that they're value driven and they're free thinkers as well, able to take things in a new direction. You mentioned before that you were sometimes kept up at night about thinking whether they have longevity. Is there a fear that they might lose this ability to branch off in new directions as they go through the sector and work for longer periods of time, I guess?
Yes, I mean, frankly, yes. There's we have to be real that in the past, few decades of scientists and advocates pushing for climate action, we have seen a lot of backsliding and a lot of stalling from are the biggest decision makers in the world. So it's not an easy space for young people to be in when we're not seeing the progress that people are fighting for be reflected in the policies that are being implemented, be reflected in the just the results that we're seeing in climate action. So it's very tough for young people to remain in the space and have longevity. And many of the barriers that early career professionals face are not being directly addressed by the institutions with power and financing, because without explicit consideration of these unique challenges, it's not a given that early career professionals will be able to navigate their way through the sector. One of the things we often recognize in the clean energy space, at least in the past, when we see folks who have been in the clean energy space for a few years, a few decades, when we ask them, how did you get into this space? How did you stay in this space? Frankly, many of them have really convoluted stories of networks they had, connections they had, opportunities that they were given. But this is not reflective of the experience of most young people in our network. A lot of young people don't have these connections, don't have opportunities that kind of magically appear, and networks that just like exist due to various privileges. So if we want more young people to be in this space, I think we have to be very real about the barriers that young people face, whether it is financial barriers and being able to build up experience while, pursuing unpaid internships or, pursuing like project development of developing companies while not being able to support themselves financially. These are huge, very real barriers that affect the longevity of early career professionals being able to stay in this space. So as much as it's important to energize and empower early career professionals to consider and choose the space, it's equally important to consider what's important to keeping people in the space 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line. Because the energy transition, it's a long-term project.
Sure. I think that's important for us to open up these spaces for them to get in there. And perhaps I can go on and ask you, Frederick. We understand it's important to engage the future of the sector, have their voices heard. So how do we provide space for early career professionals to take up this role? And then how can they effectively seize this opportunity?
Sure. When I look at the solar sector, I think across the world, I think one thing that has driven its growth is the issue of technology. So talk of technology, I will still refer to Kenya. We have these mobile payment options, and now we have the famous pay-go models across the solar sector. The reason I'm talking about technology is I look at young people. They are young, and these guys are hungry for technology. So I always say young people and technology are synonymous. Talk about a young person, you're talking about technology. So talk of all types of technological innovations, that we might think of. And I have a feeling you'll see some even from this competition. You've seen some from this competition. So you look at the space, it's highly dominated or driven by technology. And at the moment, who are the guys who are really embracing technology? The young professionals, So basically, we're saying they have this niche they can bring into the sector, this expertise, this technology-based, which we just need to coil that around and see how does it add value to what's happening in the sector, Something that I really think anyone would focus on. But I think for the young people, again, how do we pick up these opportunities? Let's look at PayGo, the models we have, This has been here for a while, but this keeps evolving over time. Are there things you can bring, new things that you can bring into, So there's a way it's been working all along. Are there new twists that you can bring into this whole platform? Are there new things that can really come in? So I think as we wait, maybe we might sit and say, let the sector do this for the young people. But Sean, I always like shifting this conversation this way. With the young people and all the techno-savvy abilities that we have, how can we bring this into the space and enable it to grow even further, For me, that's a question I would ask, and I would leave it for the young professionals. There's what there's what technology can do. How do we bring those capacities into this space to build upon what's existing and make it even much better, Sean?
Sure. Yeah, I think people are hungry. They're wanting to get in there and want to get involved with technology. We can see that in the challenge. And maybe I can bring it back to you, Shakti. How do we make these opportunities equitable? Do you mentioned different capacities of different people coming into the sector. So how do we make these opportunities equitable in your experience?
Yeah, I think there's a few really important pieces to making these opportunities equitable for everybody. I think one really important piece is that any upskilling programs and energy education programs, any capacity building programs that are out there need to be financially accessible or completely free for young people to be able to access from wherever they are, and they need to be presented in a format that is accessible for young people to be able to stay in their own communities if they wish. One of the most common things we hear from our youth network is they really do feel like they have to leave their communities and go study at one of the few renewable energy programs, in a university in Europe or North America or somewhere else. And would, it might not be their first choice to leave for a few years and do that, but it's one of the few options that's available. And this is hugely prohibitive for a lot of people to be able to access the sector, to be able to even explore a casual interest in entering the sector. And this is gatekeeps a lot of people from being able to access these opportunities. So I think these very crucial in-between programs of upskilling, building on technical skills after gaining academic experience, these programs need to be accessible from a cost perspective and from a platform perspective, and have a global mindset whenever they're presented. We try to embody this, of course, through our own programs, but we know that we are just one nonprofit in a very large world. So we really advocate for other governments and energy companies as well, when they're considering training interns or considering building a pipeline of future people that they want to see in the sector, that these opportunities need to be made with the intention of accessibility right from the beginning. And we're not quite seeing it yet in the clean energy space, but it's something that I think will really unlock the kind of accessibility and I guess leveling the playing field for people to be able to engage in the sector.
Thanks, Shakti. I think, it's difficult but important for everyone to keep in mind and really level the playing field, as you say, for these opportunities, because it's really important for this move to be equitable. As we say, that the growth needs to have social considerations in mind as well. Okay, just as we're compiling some of the audience responses, I wanted to ask you all, as a closing, what advice would you give to early career professionals and aspiring early career professionals here today? And is there anywhere we can go to learn more? Switching it back to Lisa, Frederick, onto the students. Frederick, perhaps starting with you while I get these questions going.
Yeah, Sean, a couple of things. I would want to say that I once was a young professional at this point, and I want to mention that I also was part of this challenge, I think among the first ones, and we had a solution that we presented in this. But I think this is a part of the advice I was given then, and I think I'm happy to provide it today. I think I got a chance to learn about a number of things happening in this sector. And I want to say I was once fully in oil and gas sector. And so I had to transit from that to the off-grid space. And maybe just want to say one of the things that helped me out was my participation on some program, Open Africa Power Program. I think you mentioned it way earlier. I think what this does brings together young energy professionals, talk about issues around the electric sector in the region. And more specifically, I remember quite well is something from Florence School of Regulations. It's a 1-month course if you participate on that program. What it does, it takes you through the whole electricity sector, but a lot of focus on solar, takes you through the technical and the business aspect of any solution within the electricity subsector. And it's something I would actually advise most young people. I think it invites participants from Africa. I need to check, but it's something shown, Open Africa Power Program. I think the young people here can check that out and see how they can participate. Something else, maybe I would put people to go. The other day we had the Sustainable Energy for All conference in Kigali. And I was curious, from those who wanted to participate, I think it was free for young professionals. As long as you are young, you could physically participate without paying the conference fees. And I think this is a good development in the sector. We will be seeing more young people coming in. So please take advantage of this, find out about that as well. Another thing I think I participated in, Sean, and it helped me a lot at this stage of being young in the sector. There's this program also, we used to call it the Africa Utility Week, but now it's Enlit Africa. Again, it gives an opportunity for young people to just talk about the designs, what are the things that they want to happen. But again, as you do this, you think through what is the life cycle of any innovation, you know. Also, you get a chance to look at what is the sector as a whole, what are the things happening and where can you fit. These are things for me, Sean, I will let everyone else. There are simple initiatives going on out there. Helps you learn more about the sector, helps you know which parts of the value chain you can easily fit in and what do you need to fit in. But above all, I would also say this, Sean. Some of you guys are just straight engineers, I would say that. Maybe you graduated with an engineering course, probably electrical or chemical, etc. You are now walking into a sector that requires you to be all round, you know. So just beyond the electrical skills you have acquired, the chemical engineering skills you've acquired, most players here will tell you we require someone who thinks all round. So you think about a solution, not just this pen I'm holding, but what is the economic aspects of this pen as well? What are the social aspects of this pen? So what I'm saying is try and grow yourself, do an extra course, do a project management course, a certification or something like that. Get more skills from the business side and entrepreneurship, etc. They'll really help you grow a lot within the sector. But above all, stay tuned to the trends within the sector. Just go look at the whole value chain. A lot of interesting things, but you really need to be ready to see what's going on and find a place to fit in. Sean, that's what I would say for now.
I think some great advice there, Frederick, and some great initiatives. And I see a lot of people in the chat agreeing with you, saying that they're great programs. And I think they've even a link has been shared in the chat for some of those. So thank you, Frederick. And Shakti, any advice from you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Frederick covered it all, but I really want to echo that part about growing yourself as an entrepreneur beyond maybe the core skill set that many of you have developed in the engineering and project development and ideation piece. And one thing that I think is so important is to kind of have your say in the policy realm as well, even as an entrepreneur while you are developing, these solutions. Often, early career professionals who have these hands-on tangible experience are very underrepresented when it comes to decision making about the future of energy. What kinds of energy solutions do we want to fund? What kinds of policies do we need to implement? You are the people who know best about what barriers we need to overcome and what kinds of policies would help facilitate the kind of scaling that you want to see for your project. So I would say, even as you're developing your initiatives, as you're building your project, seek out opportunities to be heard on the policy realm. It's very important to just be in the room, honestly, and show up at these policymaking spaces as a young professional, as an early career professional, and say, I'm here, I'm a person who is living this reality of the policies that are being created and proposed will have a direct impact on all of our lives. And so it's very important to be in those spaces. And I'll share 2 very tangible ways you can kind of take action on that in the near future. So one of the things we do at Student Energy is put together youth delegations to attend conferences like the Sustainable Energy for All Forum that Frederick just talked about that happened in Kigali, and COP and other the UN General Assembly, like other forums that we think are important to have a strong early career professional showing at. And one really important one that's coming up is the Clean Energy Ministerial and Mission Innovation Forum that is happening in September. So this is a gathering of energy ministers from around the world who are ideating and developing policies on clean energy. And we think it's very important for there to be early career professionals at this forum. So we are recruiting right now for people to join this delegation. I'll drop the link in the chat in just a second, but I really encourage all of you to apply. especially if you haven't been to this type of conference before. We really want a lot of young entrepreneurs and engineers to join us in these spaces, because sometimes these conferences it's very underrepresented. People who are actually building and developing real projects, and we think it's so important for early career professionals to be in this space. So I encourage you to apply. Join us in Pittsburgh. We'll be I think bringing a delegation of about 50 early career professionals from around the world, and we will be helping to facilitate bilateral meetings, putting together core programming for the early career professional delegation, and really doing a lot of collective power mapping and power building about how early career professionals can have their voices heard in the policy realm. And I think that's very important, especially for entrepreneurs who are developing their projects. And the second thing I want to leave you with is the Global Youth Energy Outlook. Eduarda actually mentioned it briefly in her keynote. This is a report that Student Energy put together that surveyed 42,000 young people from 132 countries to kind of synthesize what is it that young people want to see from the energy transition. And I really encourage you to use this report in meetings, when you're trying to kind of convince people to take a chance on your project, because I think it really helps to have the collective power of 42,000 other young people who all care about the energy transition to kind of, I guess, bolster your own projects as well. So those are the two things I'll leave you with. I'll drop the links in the chat, but yeah, to sum it up, really consider how you can have your say in the policy space as well.
Okay, amazing. I think that's left us with some really powerful tools for all of us. And yeah, perhaps if both of you can share the links to the initiatives that you shared. But yeah, I agree. It's great to have a well-rounded view of everything as well. I know we're just at 11:07 now, but I would like to get one audience question in just quickly, if you can, Frederick, and then perhaps we can take the rest in the chat. From Freddie, a student participant. He asked Frederick, as a GIZ coordinator for Kenya, what major activities do you do that promote SDGs that can be easily adopted by young people in off-grid areas before 2030?
Thank you, Sean. The two things at GIZ, we're into solar. I said we promote and trying to support communities that have access to modern energy services. And by modern energy services, we mean both solar. We're working both on solar and cooking. And I think under both components, we have a couple of things happening. For now, actually, we are working more on productive use of solar right now, trying to look at what the technologies are available that can be promoted to enable communities to generate income. And so we are a lot into irrigation, promoting anything that's related to that. And any other activity that you think solar can come in to really help you generate income. This is still open, and it's something I would advise you probably can reach out via email. In cooking, we're also looking at issues around cleaner energy solutions, working with improved cookstoves. We have a small challenge on one project I'm working on, funded by the Green Climate Fund. We're trying to, actually working with students to come up with innovations. Let me say stoves that achieve some level of fuel savings, for example. That is trying to perform much better than what we're calling the baseline stoves. So such innovation is something maybe we could share out, and I'm happy to provide some details on that. Yes, Sean, that's what we have for now. Okay, great. And it's great to keep brief. And maybe we can take any other questions in the chat. But I did want to thank both of you for your participation today. And I think it was a great session. Great to hear from both of you. Big apologies to Nadi, who is not able to get into the room, and anyone else who's having trouble right now. But thank you both, Shakti and Frederick, for coming today and answering all my questions, even though they might be a hard line.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Well, I think one word kind of sums up that. Wow. Yeah, thank you again to Shakti, to Frederick, to Sean for facilitating. Really excited to kind of continue the conversation in the chat. So if you do have time, it'd be fantastic to answer those questions in the chat that are remaining. What we're going to do just now is to provide you all a little bit of time to reflect on what we've heard so far today. So we're going to have a 10-minute break. and see you back soon to find out more about the projects from this year's Efficiency for Access Design Challenge and the all-important award winners. So we're going to have a 10-minute break and see you soon. Hi everybody and welcome back. So this is the stage where it'd be lovely to bring on your cameras so that we can show support to our different project teams who win awards for the next period. I'd like to introduce Jackie Garcia, Senior Project Manager at Energy Saving Trust, Co-Secretariat of Efficiency for Access. And Jackie is joined by Tom Whitehead, Programme and Activities Coordinator at Engineers Without Borders UK. Jackie and Tom, it's the stage that we've all been waiting for. Over to you to announce the all-important awards.
Thanks very much, Emma. Just before going into the award ceremony, allow me to comment on the one hand, Eduarda, for his inspiring keynote speech and sharing those examples of the impact on the lives of people around the world and those shocking statistics that evidence the need for the most innovative and accessible solutions to support the most vulnerable and fighting the climate emergency. I'm sure the youth empowerment message resonates among all of us here today. And on the other hand, the three panelists, Frederick, Nidhi, and Shakti, and their insightful views on the solar appliance sector and reflecting on the possibilities that early careers can explore and exploit as they contribute towards a more sustainable growth of the solar appliance sector. I am sure all people virtually gathered here today, and especially students participating in the challenge, feel moved and impelled to join forces in the journey towards a just transition. And that's exactly what students participating in this third round of the Efficiency for Access Design Challenge have been engaged on these last months. This year we had 167 students participating in the challenge, making up 41 teams representing 23 universities from 15 countries around the world. And all of them have been researching and designing innovative solutions with the goal to improve the lives and livelihoods of people living in off-grid communities by creating more affordable and efficient appliances. We are at the last section of this grand final, the awards ceremony. The student teams' ideas have been scored by our reviewers and the judging panel based on the challenges assessment criteria around innovation, social and environmental impact, and scalability of their designs. I am pleased to say that the standard was incredibly high this year, with very little separating our awarded winners and not participating teams. So huge congratulations to everybody who's participated in this year's challenge. Following their submissions and pitches to a panel of renowned experts in the solar appliance sector, 8 teams have been awarded with bronze, silver, and gold awards. This year, we have 5 teams that have achieved a bronze, 2 teams a silver, and 1 team a gold award. We will also be announcing the winner team of the People's Vote Award as determined by all of you who voted on our crowdsourcing platform for the team that best meets the assessment criteria. The voting is not closed, but you all can have a peek at the students' design on the crowdsourcing platform my colleague Emma mentioned earlier, and a summary of these submissions is also available on our website, efficiencyforaccess.org. We have asked our student teams to have a representative ready to be able to join us on stage to share a few words of acceptance of their award if the team is announced. So please, teams representatives, do turn your cameras on and get microphones ready to join us on this virtual stage to say some words and celebrate your great work if your team is an award winner. So now it is time to announce our award-winning teams of the third year of the Efficiency for Access Design Challenge. I'll pass it to my colleague Tom, who will announce the People's Vote Award.
Thank you, Jackie. Well, since April, participating students have been uploading their designs onto the crowdsourcing platform to showcase their work and compete for the People's Prize. And this year we've seen over 1,300 votes cast by the public. So well done to all the teams for your hard work in promoting your designs. Well, we can now reveal that the winner of the People's Prize, with a total of 391 votes, is Team 2021-15 from the National University of Sciences and Technology in Pakistan, with their design evaluating the potential of smart DC microgrids. Their project focuses on power monitoring and control for appliances for off-grid communities. And the project aims to increase the efficiency of and optimize the power consumption for these appliances to make solar energy more economically feasible and maximize its utility. The system, which will be marketed using a pay-as-you-go revenue model, also seeks to address blackouts and power surges in Pakistan. So as a representative from the team gets ready to join me on the virtual stage, please join me in giving Team 15 a huge round of applause. Excellent. Is Ahmad available to have a quick chat?
Yes, I'm available.
Yeah.
And Shab is here as well. Excellent. Who, please, who is the representative for your team?
Yes, I'm the team lead.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. Shab, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, and thank you so much, Tom Whitehead, for organizing this competition. And I'm glad that people think this way, that our project has the potential to break the energy barriers. And I just can't explain my feeling into words, because we just put all of our effort into the project, and we just cannot be more happy about it. And I don't know what to say, but I'm just simply very ecstatic at this point right now.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. And what do you think in particular it was about your design that really captured the minds of the public?
So basically, the demand response is a pretty new concept, and when presented in an effective way, it can break the energy barriers and solve the energy crisis. So when the project was pitched to the audience and the proper presentation was made, so that did create a strong impression in mind. So I believe this can be a driving factor, because we have been able to impress the industry experts. And I believe this can be the driving force behind people liking our product.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much to Shoaib for joining me now, and for the whole team 2021-15 for your hard work.
Now we will announce the 5 bronze awards. And the first bronze award of this year Efficiency for Access Design Challenge goes to Team 2021-12, an inter-university team from Makerere University in Uganda and Swansea University in the UK, with their design of a solar power milk cooling unit. This design aims to address the challenges faced by dairy smallholder farmers in Uganda by maintaining milk quality during the post-production and transport phase of the value chain. This helps rural farmers access cooling, reduce losses, and gain a stable income. It could also help create more jobs and foster the development of skills of social farmers. Huge congratulations and a big round of applause for Team 12.
Well done.
Now, will the representative of the team like to join me by turning on your camera and microphone and share a few words?
Yeah, hi. Unfortunately my camera's broken, so I can't put that on.
No problem, Harry. We can hear you very well. Thank you for joining today. What inspired you to work on this solar power milk cooling unit?
I think something for us that was valuable was it being an international team. So we were working with 2 colleagues out in Makerere University, and they could really get the information from the rural farmers, which gave us more scope for the design, because it could be demand driven from who we were trying to target, which was valuable. So yeah.
Thank you. How does it feel winning this bronze award?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the judges and for hosting the grand final today as well.
Well, thank you for participating and for joining today. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellent. On to the next bronze award. And this second bronze award goes to Team 2021-21. from the University of Port Harcourt in Nigeria, with their design of a semi-automated water vending machine, which aims to provide African communities with a safe, clean, potable water supply. And their design first seeks to increase the efficiency of energy expended when pumping water, improving systems that are currently manually operated. And their design then seeks to build a business model around water vending, replacing costly IT infrastructure with a voucher-based system. So again, as a representative prepares to say a few words, please join me in giving Team 21 a well-deserved round of applause. Excellent. I see that Ntami has joined. How are you doing?
I'm a representative from the team 2021-21.
Fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great stuff. Well, it'd be great to hear. There's these two different elements of this, of your design. Did you find either of them more challenging? The efficiency of the pump side, or the building the business model, or was everything a new and exciting experience for you?
It's really an insightful moment for us. Initially, just some moments ago, all we had was just an idea, but with the guidance of the industry expert and our coordinator in school, we were able to come up with a product. We noticed from our rural communities that there are several abandoned solar water pumps littered everywhere. Reason being that upon commissioning of these water systems, the communities don't have incomes. They don't earn a lot of money to maintain the water system in case of issues. And then the people that pay for this, they don't often come back to provide funds for them to maintain it. So we try to build a business model around the system by designing this and then hoping that it will reduce wastage of water and then ensure sustainability of the entire water system. So it's just how the system works is we have a voucher, you walk into the nearest vendor shop, you buy this voucher, then walk into the water vending facility, impute some codes, and then the system automatically vends the commensurate quantity of water as imputed by the customer. So it's really an exciting moment right now. Thank you so much. Thank you for the entire E418.
Thank you. And it's great to see your passion for this. And yeah, do everyone involved on the call, do take a closer look on CrowdSolve at this brilliant design. So yeah, congratulations. And
thank you.
To the whole team.
And the third bronze award goes to Team 2021-43 from Makerere University in Uganda and their design of a solar power IoT hydroponic system. This is a vertical farming system which requires less space to produce higher yields. It uses low voltage DC power submersible pump that circulates water and is reliable for all year-round production. This design is fully automated to ensure that the system parameters such as pH and macronutrients level are optimized for the desired yield. So huge congratulations, and join me for another round of applause for Team 43. Is there any representative from Team 43 today with us? Couldn't find anyone in the participants list. We will inform you via email, but hopefully you see this recording also. Thank you very much for participating in this challenge. So yeah, thanks.
Excellent. Well, on to the penultimate bronze award, which goes to Team 2021-5 from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology in Kenya, with their design of a solar-powered mobile blood bank, which responded to the need for both blood storage and transportation solutions in remote areas. And their design allows blood to be easily transported on trips lasting several hours without the risk of spoilage, using solar-powered fans, heat sinks, and insulated containers. So very well done to Team 25. And Do we have, is Sarah on the, available to have a conversation?
Hello.
Hi, and we have Eric. Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. How are you feeling?
I'm very happy. I'm very excited to have won this award.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I've just got one question for you on this. Why was it so important that your blood bank would be mobile, that the system could be mobile?
Yeah. First, we've noticed that in Kenya we have a very huge problem of blood shortage, and also compounded with the problems brought about by the poor means of transport. So it was important for us to come in and bring a solution that would make it easy for us to transport the available blood, and also make sure that we don't lose the little blood that we have in our inventory in our blood banks in Kenya.
Fantastic. Yes. And did this make this make things more difficult for you with your design, making it mobile, not just a stationary blood bank?
Yes, it was a challenge because the refrigerators we've interacted with are basically refrigerators which are not easy to move. Mostly they are vapor compression refrigerators, so it was a bit of a challenge to go out of our way to find a solution that is easy to carry and easy to move around with.
Well, I think we can all agree that it was worth the hard work. So congratulations to
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. Fantastic. Well, that moves us on to the final bronze award. And this award goes to Team 2021-26, who are also from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology in Kenya, with their design of a solar baby incubator. And this design aims to reduce the infant mortality rate in Kenya by providing a technology that tackles a whole host of UN SDGs, including Goal 3, which is good health and well-being. And the system, which circulates and monitors solar heated water through the incubator, helps preterm infants in a number of different contexts to grow and to thrive. So congratulations to Team 26. Huge round of applause to them. And do we have a representative from Team 26?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Winfred. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very well, very well. Just again, huge congratulations. It would be great to hear from you. What inspired your team to address this particular important issue?
Okay, so our country, Kenya, is among the countries with one of the highest rates of preterm births in the world. So it's a very pertinent issue that we thought would be very important to address. And this design directly addresses it in that it aims at increasing the chances of survival for the many preterm and premature infants that are born in our country.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, congratulations again, everyone on the call. Do have a look at this design and all the others. And congratulations, Team 26, for winning this bronze award.
Thank you.
And now we will announce the 2 silver awards. And the first silver award goes to Team 2021-6 from National University of Science and Technology in Pakistan, with their design of a solar-based dehydrating system for food preservation. This system uses 3 energy transfer mechanisms: conduction, convection, and radiation. A combination of forced convection and greenhouse effect is used to enhance the efficiency of the solar dryer. A heat recovery mechanism for water and air also accelerates the drying process, making the product more energy efficient. The dryer chamber includes a temperature humidity control mechanism. And this system will help avoid food waste, but extending the shelf life of farmers' products and therefore increase the farmers' income. This type of solar power food dehydration and preservation system is very rare in Pakistan, where drying food in the open sun is the traditional practice. Congratulations and a big round of applause for Team 6. Now, will the representative of the team like to join me by turning on your camera and microphone and share a few words?
Hello, I'm audible.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. It's great to see our team winning the silver award, and I can't express the happiness right now. It's been a great pleasure to join get this opportunity to participate in this event, in this challenge. The whole challenge was so flexible, and all the feedbacks and the pitches and the webinars and all that stuff, that they really help us to basically make all our design efficient and really basically uh, get to know about the importance of SDGs and all the stuff that we really ignore sometimes. So it's been great to see winning this award. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing all that positiveness and enthusiasm and everything that you've learned through this challenge. Can you tell us a little bit more about this system, the iterating system, or building the prototype that we can see here on the slides picture?
Sure. Basically, the main motivation behind this project was that here in Pakistan, the dehydrating industry is the growth of dehydrating industry is too slow to be noticeable, and majorly the farmers they feel very difficulty in dehydrating the food they basically are doing in the rural areas. So the main motivation behind was to basically design an innovative solar dehydrator for them, so they can easily dehydrate the food and can get the more finer form of their yield. And this is not the end here. We are making a more optimized form of it. Also, we are trying to commercialize here in Pakistan as well. So yeah, we hope that we could make it and could go to the point where we want to get it. So, yeah.
Thank you. It will be amazing if we can see this moving forward. Keep us updated, and all the best for that. Thank you.
Great. On to our second silver award, which goes to team 2021-18 from UCL. In the UK, with their design of a space cooling system with grass filter, which improves the particulate matter within air while also cooling buildings. And the team identified lemongrass as highly effective for this process as a filter, recommending target markets that not only experienced limited access to grid electricity, but also had sufficient capacity to produce this particular species of grass. And the result was an affordable filter that can help create a more comfortable environment for people in urban environments. So huge congratulations to Team 18. Now, I'm unsure if we have a representative. Do we have a representative from the UCL team? In which case, I think before we move on to the final award, I've seen that Ngure Brian from Team 43, one of our bronze medalists, are you free to have a chat about your award? If not, then we will move on to the finale. but just want to give Ngureya an opportunity from team 43. Microphone's not working, no problem. Congratulations again for that. It's great to see that you're on the call. And I will pass back to Jackie to announce the Gold Award.
Thank you. And now, the moment you have all been waiting for. The winner of the Gold Award of the Efficiency for Access Design Challenge 2021-2022 goes to Team 2021-31, an inter-university team from Independent University, Bangladesh, and City University of London in the UK, with their design of a solar direct drive cold storage for preservation of fish and perishable goods. This is an effective cold storage system for both off-grid and weak-grid use in rural Bangladesh. The project converts renewable solar energy into ice banks to keep the storage system cool during nights and cloudy days, while limiting the use of external batteries. This will make the overall design lightweight and drive down its price to make it more affordable. The design allows multiple temperature settings to store different types of produce, and is a mobile design and uses locally sourced materials that will allow local manufacturing. The goal is to reduce operational costs for local farmers while also assisting them to increase their incomes. So huge congratulations and a big round of applause for Team 31. Now, will the representative of the team like to join me on stage by turning on your cameras and switch on your microphone and share a few words?
Well, are we audible?
Are we audible?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi, Sadiq. Hi, Tastia. How are you?
Hey.
Hello, hi.
Well, this is a surprise.
It definitely is.
Oh my God. So I would definitely like to thank Efficiency for Access Design Challenge, Engineers Without Borders, and our industry supervisor, and also Mr. Khushu M. Salim, our university supervisor, for actually giving us not just the platform to express ourselves, but also to explore off-grid solutions and to see how we can actually help people in rural off-grid areas in Bangladesh. And we would definitely like to take this opportunity to take the learnings that we've accomplished from this competition and take it further to the actual field and see if we can actually come to fruition and fulfill our ideas. And once again,
we are extremely ecstatic upon hearing the news.
Yeah.
We did not expect this.
This is a surprise. Okay.
Well, you
so
did
much.
it, so congratulations. And yeah, it is amazing to hear your motivation and your expectations and willingness to take this a step further. I hope the summary that I share reflects your design, but what would you like to highlight from your cold storage design?
Well, if I could add that this was basically one thing we had in our mind was affordability and accessibility, and we wanted to cover those grounds and the SDG goals that we wanted to approach and make sure that the design is not just compact but also mobile, but at the same time it would be affordable, yeah, and efficient. And we did that, and we also wanted to make sure that our cold storage system could be used throughout the year so that the usability can be increased and its life cycle can also increase, and it would be a community-based product so that even if someone cannot afford it alone, that farmer can actually buy it in shares with other farmers and then use it in their community and help excel each other. And so it would not just make the whole thing economically viable, but also a good addition to their community and be something resourceful. So, yes.
Yeah, fantastic. And whoever wants to learn a little bit more about your design, they can go on Crowdsource or check the summaries of the projects online also. Do you have any final words? What do you like to share about your experience in participating in the challenge?
First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to this platform and to our university for allowing us to showcase our ideas. And I would really like to congratulate all the other participants who participated in this competition and came up with their unique ideas. Well, I definitely believe we as a team that we all have a lot to learn from each other. So this was a wonderful experience. Thank you so much.
Great words. Thank you very much for sharing those last words. And yeah, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask all people attending this event to join me in a collective virtual clapping to congratulate all the awardees and all the participants in this third year of the Efficiency for Access Design Challenge. You can use the clapping reaction at the bottom of your screen or send a message on the chat to join this moment of celebration and congratulating all the winning teams and all the participants that through the last months have been working on their designs. I see a lot of virtual claps. Thank you very much. And some hearts and some fireworks also. This is amazing. Also, I like to highlight that all the industry experts engaged in the competition, either as mentors, reviewers, or judges, were delighted with the quality of the project submitted. Most of the participating students have or will soon graduate. So on behalf of all the Efficiency for Access Design Challenge team, I want to wish you all the best in the next steps, pursuing your career goals and ambition. Thank you all for participating in the challenge, and I'll pass it to you, Emma.
Absolutely wonderful. Congratulations to all the teams. And thank you to everybody who joined us today. Please do know that we'll be sharing a recording with the transcript of the event afterwards. And if you're a student, if you're a mentor, if you're an educator, if you've joined the event today, please do keep an eye out for a survey that's going to come out afterwards in your emails. Each year we try to improve the design challenge so that the student experience can be even better year in, year out. And your feedback, whether it's your feedback as a participating student or as an educator or as a professional, as a guest or as a funder and supporter, is invaluable for us to be able to continuously improve. So my ask for you is to keep an eye out and to complete that and provide us with that really valuable feedback in terms of being able to continuously improve this initiative. I also have one final ask before we close up today, and this is a bit of a special moment. This design challenge brings together such a unique group of people from around the world, and we want to celebrate that. And the way that we want to celebrate that is a little bit cheesy. So we would love for everybody to turn on their cameras so that we can take a collective team photo from the 2020-21 Efficiency. So I will do a countdown, but if you're able to turn on your cameras, that'd be absolutely wonderful. On 3, and I'm going to do this a couple of times, so you'll get an opportunity just to smile more than once. But on 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go again. We're going to go again as you would in real life. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Some fantastic smiles. Thank you so much for joining in with a bit of a team photo. And that wraps us up for today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you to everybody that spoke today, that contributed to the event, and thank you to you all for coming. It's been absolutely fabulous. Thank you.